Hello, welcome to Act 2. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to really hear from you, and I'd really love to have a feedback on how these insights are what you think of them. Are they helping you with writing a story if you're hoping to write a story on youth, on Ruth? And do you have any insights for me? I would love to hear from you. We're moving on to Act 2, which are chapters 2 and 3 of the story. Act 2 normally has two parts to it. So there's the first half of Act 2, and the second half of Act 2 is the second part. So the first half of Act 2 is there is a lot of character change happening there. There is this may look like external training. So maybe sometimes the character change is physicalized in terms of training or learning that the character undergoes. But this is, I want to subtitle the first half of Act 2 as the making of a hero. So we have the main character who's come from a place of weakness. They enter into Act 2 very weak. Their weakness is magnified in this world, and they change, they grow, they are trained, and they become someone who could be a hero. In the second half of Act 2, something happens at that midpoint, at that junction between the two halves, to flip the story. Sometimes it's a revelation, sometimes it is the opponent of the story who reveals himself and attacks in some way, in a way that nothing can ever be the same again. So once that revelation or that attack has happened, the characters need to respond in some way. So the second part of Act 2 is sort of reacting to that change that has happened, that has thrown the story on a different path. Well, it's something that needs to be responded to, and so we have in the second half a reaction to the story, and then the mantle, the taking on of the mantle. So the main character has become a hero in the first part of Act 2, and in the second part of Act 2 there is the taking up the mantle. So the becoming the person, and also clarifying what the heroic action is that they will be called to. It's sort of a call to heroism, maybe to fight that battle that needs to be fought so that the story goal can be addressed. And this mantle, so in the second half of Act 2 there'll be lots of reasons not to take up that mantle, and then that will catapult them into Act 3, ready to fight or not, depending on how they responded to the character change and the taking up of the mantle in Act 2. So that is the overall shape of Act 2. How I will address this in this video series is I will break up each half of Act 2 into 4 parts, just like I did with Act 1. So as I mentioned before, the first part of Act 2, which I'm calling Act 2.1, that I'll break that up into 4 parts, and then the second part of Act 2, which I'm calling 2.2, I will break that up into 4 parts. So I really hope you can join me in this exploration of the story structure of Ruth and continue along with me. I really value having you here with me, and I hope to see you in the next video.